What's going on, friends? Thank you so much as always for stopping by. Today's video is a little bit different. It's a little bit exciting for me personally. My wife and I actually took a trip down to Disneyland a few weeks ago, the very beginning of March. And like I like to do anytime I go to a Disney park, I like to take a fresh roll of film and just snap away and take pictures of things that interest me and, just have for keeping for later and, posting on Instagram and things like that. This time I took a very special roll of film. It's a roll of film made by Kodak. It's called Portra, and it's known for just very specific, vibrant colors. It's a very beautiful film, and I feel like it would lend itself really well to just kind of the feel and the vibe and the energy at a Disney park. So I took the film and I took my trusty Olympus Stylus. And just walked around Disneyland shooting. So we're going to talk about those photos, and I'll show you all of those very shortly. But the other thing, and you've probably seen this by now with the title of the video, I actually made my first print, and it's actually turned around backwards right now. So if you would like to skip ahead to the part where I talk about the print that I made, you can go to this timestamp right here. So let's jump into the photos and let's talk about them. So this is the first one that I took on the roll. These are not going to be in order of the way that I took them on the roll. So if you notice the weather changing a little bit here and there, I put these in an intentional order. So this was actually the first picture on the roll. This is kind of the train station and kind of that iconic grassy area as soon as you walk into Disneyland. It's pretty similar when you go into the Magic Kingdom at Disney World as well. But it's kind of disappointing that it was so overcast this afternoon, but it's still good. Still really get some of that nice like late afternoon sun in these colors. Pretty good. This one's pretty nice. This is kind of the crowd setup when Disneyland is having a parade, which they have every day. And so I stood kind of on the steps, actually behind the building that we were just looking at. And everybody's just kind of getting into position for the parade. You can kind of see the people down there sitting on the curb and just waiting for the parade to go by. It's a nice wide shot. I mean, obviously it's portrait up and down, but it's nice and wide. This one, if you've followed my channel or my Instagram for a while, as far as film goes, you know that on every roll of film, I try to put some sort of selfie on it. So this was the selfie for this roll. There's actually two on this roll, but this is the first one. And I thought it was pretty cool because Disneyland on Main Street actually does have what used to be a film lab, and they still have left most of the decorations up from when it was a film lab, where you could actually go in there and buy cameras and buy film and buy batteries, and now it's mostly just like memory cards, and it's a place where you can go in and print photos from your rides and things like that. But there you can see the printing is still on the window that says quality film developing. So I thought that would be a pretty apropos place to take a selfie in the window on film. This one really didn't come out the way I was hoping it would. This guy was he was kind of directing traffic, and he was using that little orange baton to direct people, and I was hoping I was going to get him pointing at me, and he just didn't turn around the way I was hoping he would, so this was kind of a bummer. This one, I love this shot. If you've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World, you know that they have the world's greatest corn dogs. Specifically at Disneyland, there's something special about the corn dogs that come from the Little Red Wagon. And I wish I had gotten a digital picture of how long the line was for these corn dogs. It was just, I don't know, conservatively, probably 75 people long to get one of these corn dogs. And I just love the way that the colors came out. The green in the trees and the blue and the red on the truck. It just looks so good. And the kid waiting for a bite from the adult. We've all been that kid. This one I'm actually pretty happy with as well. This is in Tomorrowland, and you really shows how Portra, the film that I used, displays skies and just absolutely explodes blue. It looks so good. This one I'm very happy with. I kind of tried to meter in the middle and not blow out the highlights, but also get some of the shadows. If you can see in the middle of the picture, there is kind of a waterfall feature, which is really cool. This is the Matterhorn mountain. This one just was a product of keeping my camera in my hand as I was walking around. Disneyland's monorail, in contrast to Disney World's monorail, actually runs through the park, so you can use it as transportation into and out of Disneyland, which is pretty neat. But so yeah, it runs over the top of the park in some places, and I was about to walk under it, and it started going over the top, and so I snapped a pic. Again, with this one, you can see a lot of those blues. It just makes those blues pop, even though I was taking this picture pretty much right into the sun. So this one is kind of creepy, honestly. Woody, I was walking through Frontierland, and Woody was walking towards me, and I just pulled out the camera and I didn't focus it from my eye or anything. I just tried to take a shot and see how it would turn out. And the sunburst is pretty cool off the top of his hat, but yeah, you don't want to look at this one for too long. So this one is also in Frontierland. I feel like there's a story to this cart, this wagon, but I could not tell you for the life of me what it is. I've seen so many different old blog posts and videos on YouTube as to like the history of Disneyland things and artifacts and things that were taken from other rides, but I just could not tell you what this is from. I know it's got some sort of significance, but I liked the red and I liked the green and how it looks all westerny and stuff like that. But anyway, this one I am absolutely over the moon about. I stood here at this little juncture next to Thunder Mountain, waiting for the cart to go by, and framing this. I wanted like the big central spire, and I wanted some sky, and I wanted some trees and clouds, and absolutely nailed it. I definitely had to spend a few minutes here trying to figure out how I wanted to place this shot, but I think it definitely paid off, and I'm super happy about this shot. This one just seemed nice because I had a little bit of blue sky, and it's Disneyland, so you're never going to be able to get all of the people out of a shot, but I think it's framed pretty well. It's the Golden Horseshoe. It's a kind of a saloon style quick service restaurant, and there's a little stage in there, and they have a show. I think it's at lunchtime. But yeah, it's a cool place, and you can go in there and get like a little shake that's served in a boot, and like a root beer float or whatever. But anyway, so this is a nice, I think it's a nice shot. Again, you got that really poppin' blue sky. Also, if you've been following me for a little while, you know that I really enjoy taking pictures of the birds at Disney parks. They are just so docile, and they're just so used to being around humans all the time, and they pause for pictures, which is incredible. And so this goose decided to pose. Next one is just the tail end of the Mark Twain riverboat, which if you've been to Disneyland or the Magic Kingdom, you're familiar with the riverboat. I thought this was kind of a cool angle. This one as well, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I think the only thing I would have preferred on this shot is for it to have been taken at a different time when there was no construction going on, because as you can see on the right side in the middle there, you've got some of that scrim that they put up whenever Disney is doing construction. This is my home. Just kidding. This is the Haunted Mansion. I took it from kind of far away behind some bushes and behind a tree, so it kind of gives it an old, eerie, creepy looking vibe, which I think I nailed. I really like that. This is actually just absolutely my favorite ride at Disneyland. I love the Haunted Mansion. Highly recommend it. And also, if you ever have the opportunity to go to Disneyland, specifically Disneyland or Tokyo Disneyland, from it's late fall through the new year, it actually becomes a Nightmare Before Christmas theme, and they redo the whole inside of the ride, and it is absolutely spectacular. Highly recommend it if you ever have the ability to go see that. One of my favorite parts of Disneyland is the New Orleans Square, kind of the Nolans French Quarter influenced area of Disneyland. It is some of the most immersive ambiance that you'll ever experience at a theme park, I would say. It is so spot on. The decorations are incredible. The trees are incredible. The buildings are immaculate. Everything about it is so spot on. From the balconies, and there's beads hanging off, and there's the food is all spot on, and the gardens are incredible. Everything is just so immaculately positioned, and everything has been just thought out so perfectly. But I love just sitting in New Orleans Square in Disneyland. It is just one of my happy places, I think. Yeah, this is Rosie, and she is one of the animatronics at the Tropical Hideaway. It's a brand new eating area, dining area in Adventureland, and they serve Dole Whip treats, different flavors, and steam buns, and little grab-and-go things. But she's audio animatronic, and she talks and tells jokes and all of that kind of stuff. She's very similar to the ones that are in Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. So this type of picture, if you're watching this in early 2019 through mid 2019, is not great because Disneyland's castle is being renovated. So if you can see on the left there, all of that scrim is all covering the castle. And that's unfortunate because it makes pictures at the Partners statue, which I just love, kind of bad. But I wanted to try one anyway, and well, it's still a memory, and that's what's important. I never leave Disneyland without getting a picture of the firehouse. The center window on the second floor there is actually Walt Disney's office. While Walt was alive and while Disneyland was in operation, if Walt was in the park, that light in the very center of the window would be on. And that was how everybody knew that Walt was around, and you could expect to see him out and about, or that he was in his office working, or what have you. But now that Walt has passed away, that light stays on all the time, and all of the things that are on his office desk and his chair and couch and chairs in there, all of it is exactly the way he left it. I think it's a really nice tribute to the man who made so many of these things come true for so many people, and it's always nice. It's always a special thing to walk by there and just, pay your respects. So this is the Native American statue carving on Main Street at Disneyland. It sits out front of just a retail shop now, but from 1955 until the early 90s, you could actually buy tobacco in Disneyland, and this was kind of signifying this is where you could buy tobacco. So the store that was immediately behind him was where you could do that. it's kind of mind-blowing now because we have so few places in public where you can still smoke. Like, you can't do it in restaurants anymore, and as of recording this, now no Disney park has smoking in it. But it's kind of crazy that you could buy tobacco or cigarettes or cigars inside Disneyland. This is another picture of my home, aka the Haunted Mansion. I really, really like the way that this one turned out. Yeah, this is just a nice picture. It makes me feel happy. I'm not crazy about the way that this one ended up getting framed, but I thought it was pretty cool. I'm usually busy running around Disneyland at the time of day whenever the Disneyland band takes to Main Street and plays their tunes, and I'm certainly never at this end of Disneyland whenever they're there and parked out and playing a bunch of songs and marching around and stuff. So it was a rare treat to be able to see them. This one I'm actually really proud of. This is over at Pixar Pier in California Adventure, and I stood under the Incredicoaster, is what this thing is called now. But I stood under the Incredicoaster for a little while trying to frame this up, and I wanted to get the cart flying by as the ride was going. And these carts are a lot faster than the ones on Thunder Mountain, so it's a little bit harder to get. And yeah, the camera performed perfectly. Got the exact shot that I wanted. This one is in Radiator Springs in the Cars Land area, and I just love this. Like, the Imagineers at Disneyland or all Disney parks really just go out of their way just to absolutely immerse you. It's incredible. You know, the forced perspective that they use, all of the little tricks of the trade that they use to make this look so real. It's just mind-blowing. This is kind of the iconic shot if you are in California Adventure. You've got Mickey's Fun Wheel, which I don't think they call it that anymore. It's called the Pixar Pal-Around now. And then you've got the Incredicoaster in the background. And had this been a sunny day, I think this picture would have been just absolutely outrageously good, because that blue would have just made all of these colors pop. But it's still pretty good. So the second selfie is this one. That's me and my wife. Taking a selfie on a film camera is surprisingly difficult. This one, I'm just over the moon about this one. Waited there at the park exit for a little while to try to get a good shot of the railroad going in front of the train station, and just nailed it. It looks so good to me. This one definitely showcases how good this film can look with a blue sky and at, you know, magic hour when you've got that just perfect late light. This one, the mouse himself. This year is Mickey and Minnie's 90th birthday. So all year at Disneyland and Disney World, Mickey can be seen wearing this suit with confetti on it. And after we got a photo with him, with the two of us, I asked him if I could have a photo of just him, and he was happy to oblige. This is the piece de resistance. This is the photo that I decided to make prints of. I could not be happier with the way that this photo came out. This Portra film just absolutely makes colors look unbelievable. It looks dreamy. It looks unreal. I have not touched these photos up at all. This is the way that these came off of the film, and couldn't be happier. These vendors walk around with all these different multicolored balloons, and it's just incredible. And I was lucky enough to catch this at a time when there was minimal cloud cover, so you get a lot of that blue coming through. It just looks amazing. I'm so happy with this picture. This is one of probably the top 10 favorite pictures I've ever taken. And it just brings me so much joy to look at this and just think about the good times that we have in the Disney parks, and think about being a 32-year-old child. And so yeah. So now that you've seen all of the photos, here is the first print This is the balloon picture. It came out so nicely. I'm just so thrilled with the quality. The colors are exactly the way that they should look. The representation from film to this really high quality paper is just outstanding. I am just over the moon excited to be able to share these prints with you. So a little bit of specifics on the prints. There will be a link down in the description where you can purchase this print. They are 5x7s, so it's this size. Someone will get this very one. And yeah, so that's going to be down in the description. They are going to be $24 because I thought $25 sounded like too much. So they're going to be $24, and there's only going to be 15 of them. I thought that I didn't want to invest too much into this and just have these photos sitting around in case anybody, didn't want them or wasn't interested. So for this initial run, there are 15 photos. First come, first serve. I don't have any control over how that goes. So if you get down there and the link says, that there's none left, there's none left. Be sure and leave me a comment and let me know if you were able to get one, if you were interested in one. And that'll be able to help me gauge for future prints, or if there's a photo you've seen me take before that you're interested in, leave me a message and maybe we can work something out. But as for these balloon shots, we're just going to do 15 of these. They're going to be individually numbered and signed, and should be able to put a little note in there for you as well. So if you're interested, please feel free to drop down into the video description. There will be a link there where you can purchase that photo. So I think that's it. Otherwise, yeah, leave me a comment and let me know if you liked any of the other photos, or if you didn't like any of the other photos. If you have any critique, that's okay too. But otherwise, I think we're good. So as always, find someone you love, tell them you love them, peace, and be good to each other.